They say dogs can see the soul of a person, but no one says what happens when our soul is too dark, even for an innocent gaze. This is the story of a man who lost everything except the chance to be saved by the one he least expected. Before we begin this true story, which has already touched thousands of hearts, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. If you love animals and believe they are more than just pets, but true soul companions, this story will speak directly to your heart. Thomas Clark returned from war, but the war never left him. A veteran of the British Air Force, Thomas was a hero on paper and a ghost at home. He was 36 when he left the airbase and returned to Manchester in 2018. But what awaited him at home was worse than any battlefield. Loneliness, anxiety, nightmares, depression. No wife, no children, no purpose. Every night was the same. Silence, the TV off, windows shut, the constant sound of rain tapping on the glass. A scene as dark as his mind. He thought about giving up. He thought about it many times. But one ordinary October afternoon, while aimlessly scrolling on his phone, he saw a simple ad. French Bulldog puppy for adoption. Needs love. Urgent. The photo showed a tiny pup with sad eyes and splayed paws, as if begging for a hug through the screen. Something stirred in Thomas, and in that moment, with an impulsive click, his life began to change. The next day, he went to pick up the puppy. The house was modest. The owners were moving. They handed over the dog without much ceremony. His name is Joy, they said. Thomas laughed with irony. Joy? It was everything he didn't have. But something inside him whispered that maybe this little dog could be the start of something different. Sometimes the greatest revolutions of the soul begin quietly, with a gentle breath on your lap, a pair of attentive eyes, and a bark that says more than 1,000 words. And that's exactly how Joy began to rebuild Thomas. The first days with Joy were strange. Thomas didn't know how to care for himself, let alone another living being. But there was something different about that French Bulldog puppy. He wasn't hyper. He didn't jump on everything. He didn't destroy furniture. Joy simply watched. He followed Thomas around the house like a faithful shadow, slept at the foot of the bed, waited by the bathroom door, sat beside the couch and let out deep sighs, as if he understood the weight in the air. In the first week, Thomas barely spoke to him. He rarely left his room, but Joy stayed there, persistent and silent. Until one rainy night, when the sound of thunder, reminding Thomas of wartime explosions, triggered a crisis. His body broke into a cold sweat. His chest tightened. His eyes welled up. He shouted. He cried. He trembled. And Joy jumped onto the bed, curled up beside him, rested his head on Thomas's chest, and didn't move. That was the day Thomas hugged him for the first time. From then on, the changes were small but steady. Joy demanded walks, and Thomas began to go out, even reluctantly. He strolled through the park with his hood up and the little dog on a leash. People stopped him. What a cute bulldog! What's his name?
And as he repeated Joy, Thomas began to notice the irony fading. The word stopped hurting. It started to mean something. At home, Joy pounced on him with toys, stole his socks, made funny faces, and little by little, laughter returned. Faint at first, but real. The psychiatrist's office, which Thomas attended out of obligation, now had a new topic. How's Joy doing? The dog became the center, the bridge, the motivation. The therapist was blunt. You adopted Joy, but he's the one adopting you. And it was true. Joy wasn't just a dog. He was a living reminder that even the most shattered heart can beat strongly again. When you love deeply, time isn't measured. But when time runs short, every second becomes an eternity. and Thomas was about to face his hardest mission, to repay all the love Joy had given him before it was too late. Joy was 3 years old when the first signs appeared. He tired quickly on walks, breathed heavily, no longer chased his ball like before. Thomas thought it was just laziness or the weight of age. But in January 2022, during a routine vet visit, came the news no pet owner wants to hear. Joy had congenital cardiomyopathy. His heart was enlarging, working harder than it could. It was serious, incurable, and the vets were straightforward. Maybe 6 months, maybe less. Thomas froze. In that vet's office, he felt the same emptiness he'd known in the worst days of war. But now it was different, because now he had something, or rather, someone he didn't want to lose. In the days that followed, Thomas cried in secret, in the shower, in the kitchen, watching Joy sleep. But he decided he wouldn't spend their final days mourning. He would turn the end into a new beginning. He bought a camera, a notebook, and started what he called the farewell journey. He took Joy to the Brighton coast, then to the Yorkshire countryside with its open fields and golden sunsets. They slept in tents, took selfies together, ate burgers on a park bench. Joy got a new sweater, a medal with his name engraved, and a teddy bear to carry in photos. Each place was a chapter, each step a silent love letter. And on social media, Thomas began sharing photos of their journey. What was meant to be private went viral. Hundreds of people started following them. They commented, cheered, cried along. Even other families with sick dogs wrote, saying they were inspired by Joy. The puppy, once rescued, was now rescuing others. With his story, his strength, his ever-gentle gaze, even in sickness. It was as if he knew, as if you were saying, "We're still together. We just have less time now." And Thomas promised, silently, through tears and smiles, "Every minute with you will be eternal."
Some goodbyes can't be captured in words. Some silences scream louder than any farewell. And on that day, June 9, 2022, Thomas's world fell silent once more. But this time, there was something different. Joy woke up struggling that morning. His steps were slow, his eyes slightly dull. Thomas knew instantly it was the day. Joy's heart was giving in. But even so, when he saw Thomas by the bed, the little French bulldog still wagged his tail, still tried to stand. And with effort, he jumped, what would be his final leap, into the arms of the man he had once saved. At the clinic, the vet was waiting. Joy was placed on a blanket, with Thomas holding his paw. The room was quiet, the lights soft, time suspended. Thomas trembled, but he didn't cry. Not yet. He just whispered, "You were my light, my best friend, my savior." Joy looked at him, as always, with sweetness, with peace, without fear. And when the sedative took effect, and Joy's little heart stopped, Thomas felt something strange. It wasn't just pain. It was gratitude, because he had loved, truly, with everything, and he had been loved back. That same day, Thomas posted a letter on the profile where he shared their journey. The caption was simple. "Today, Joy leaped to a place where hearts don't fail anymore. Thank you for everything, my boy." The post went viral. Thousands shared it. Strangers sent flowers. Family said the story inspired them to care better for their dogs. Veterans sent letters. A local shelter even created a program called Joy, offering emotional support dogs for recovering soldiers. Joy was gone, but his legacy was just beginning. This story isn't just about a bulldog and a veteran. It's about the power of a bond, about how, sometimes, the smallest hearts carry the greatest strength in the world. If you believe animals change lives, share this story. And never forget, to some, you may be just a person, but to them, you are their entire world.